Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Redmen TV and your latest episode of Liverpool Loan Watch. My name is Dan Club. I'm delighted to be joined by Diego Otero, a Spanish journalist. Diego, my friend, how are you? Okay.
Hi, how are you? Pretty nice to be here. It's an honor.
I massively appreciate you joining me. Top man, thanks so much for your time. Yeah, we're here to talk about Stefan Bajcetic, of course. Joined Las Palmas in January after he spent the first half of the season in Austria at Red Bull Salzburg. I actually went to watch him at Salzburg, and it didn't really work for him, that move, I think. But since he arrived in Spain, Diego, he's made 9 appearances, scored 1 goal. It's been a little bit in and out. How has his overall time at Las Palmas been so far?
Well, first, we have to know what you say is his time in Salzburg in Austria was pretty difficult because he goes with Pep Linders, that is the second coach with Jurgen Klopp, and I know especially that he comes to this place because of that, because of Linders. But then he go out, he wants fire, and he has to make a huge change, no, in his career, and he's developed because I think that he's like he's not have a lot of game and a lot of quality games in Austria because it's pretty difficult. It's a team that he's not working well the last years, and then he comes back to Spain after a long time in Vigo in the Young Academy. And he comes to Las Palmas. There is a team that he's suffering a lot. The team he's struggling in the last 2 3 months, uh, and they have a lot of problems with injuries because Stefan was come to Las Palmas to play as a center midfielder. Like he plays in Liverpool in his first years, and he plays in Salzburg. But they have a lot of struggling. Las Palmas is struggling with injuries, and he has to play as a center back in some matches. In three center backs, he play in the right side. And well, he's trying to make his best. I think that because I follow him a lot because I know his father firsthand and his agent. And I know some part of his family, of his agency, and well, I think he's playing well. I think Liverpool has to take his rather of Stefan development because I think he has the potential to be part of the first squad of Liverpool. But now it's pretty difficult because the moment of Las Palmas they are fighting for the relegation. They are now in these positions. But in terms of Stefan, we're talking about the nearest game that is was against Getafe. And he plays an amazing game. He plays as a center midfielder with Dario Sugo. That is another player that he's going to go to Chelsea the next season. They made a huge partnership, I think so. Young players with different qualities. Stefan is more a player with great touch, with great vision. Sugo is a player with more physicality and amazing physical. And he's developed pretty well. I think the last games that he plays as a midfielder was great, and the last one against Getafe was amazing because he was like he played like his very first games at Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp. He has this vision, he has this calm in the center midfielder, sorry, and he's played pretty well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The main reason I wanted to talk to you is firstly because I really like Stefan Bajcetic. I think he's got loads and loads of talent. You mentioned sort of the early games there under Jurgen Klopp. Like Liverpool's midfield had stopped functioning at that point, and Stefan Bajcetic came in and he was unbelievable. Reading the game, intercepting play, getting us playing, lovely on the ball, really comfortable in possession. So I was really excited about him. And then he gets injured, misses loads of football. As I say, that Austria loan move never really works. I've been keeping a close eye on his development for a long time. And then I saw your tweet and other tweets and stuff saying how brilliant he was against Getafe. So I was like, right, okay, let's talk about it. Las Palmas win that game 3-1, massive win. Stefan's very important to that, of course. You mentioned a moment ago there's a relegation fight going on now for Las Palmas. Between now and the end of the La Liga season, how important, based on what we saw over the weekend, do you think Stefan could be if Las Palmas are going to survive?
I think we're gonna be one of his top three most important pieces to not relegate to the second division in Spain. Him, Dario Sugo that I mentioned before, and Fabio Silva that is loaned by Wolverhampton. There are a lot young players from the Premier League in Las Palmas. And it is so many important because he is the player in the midfielder with most quality, with the better touch ball that can find it in the very first stage of the organization of the possession of the ball. He's the best player in that area for Las Palmas, and he's pretty important. I think because he played 2 or 3 matches as a center back, and I don't feel that he's playing so good like he gonna play as a center midfielder. And I think that Diego Martinez, that is the coach, then now we're gonna use Stefan as a center midfielder because it's his best position.
Yeah, no, absolutely it is. Yeah, and it's interesting. I've seen obviously the minutes. He's played some 45 minutes, played 90 at the weekend. I think that was his second 90 since he arrived in Spain. You mentioned the manager there and the coach. Has he spoken much about Stefan and maybe why he wasn't playing more? Because was it a fitness thing? Was it a tactical thing? Can you explain why? Just because for us, we look at Stefan's talent and ability and think, well, he should play every single minute at Las Palmas, but it hasn't quite been the case.
I didn't talk with obviously I talk with his father, I talk with his agent, and I know things, but I don't know about what happens with the coach and why he didn't use more as Stefan. But well, I think it's always tactical moments. Like we say in Spain, it's attackers, coaches attacks. No, that we say when a coach has a lot of problems, is struggling with in every position. They have to move pieces. They have to every single week display bad. I don't use it until the final decision, and it's so difficult now. Well, Liverpool don't have it, but in my case, that my team is Celta de Vigo in Spain. We fighting for the relegation years ago, and I know that it's so difficult for the coach that you see that the results are not what you want. You can play well, you can have more attacks than the rival, but you have in that bad luck. You fall in that bad luck that you can make the results. And but I think that is more so important because this last weekend they start losing 1-0 against Getafe, but a red card for Getafe, and they have this comeback, and they are now I think 3 points to survive. No, but it's pretty important because they were in a street that is so bad, and I feel it because I follow a lot of Spanish football, obviously, and international football. But I feel that this team is unstable. I don't know if it is good,
Yeah,
the word, but now this win, I think is pretty nice for Las Palmas, and it's pretty nice in that case for Stefan because I think that the coach Diego Martinez have now this confidence with Stefan to make him an habitual in the starting 11. Sorry.
yeah, no, I hope so. I really do. And like I say, hopefully he can help guide Las Palmas to safety. Just finally on Stefan, you obviously tracked his career from Celta Vigo to Liverpool and now to Las Palmas. Only 20 years old. He's been back in the Spain under 21 squad recently, which I was delighted with as well. In terms of, obviously, we've said already, the end of this season, he just needs to play as much as possible and hopefully, like I say, play a part. But in terms of sort of what happens next, what do you think could happen next with him? Is it back to Liverpool and work at pre-season and then be a part of the squad? I think that could be the case. What are your thoughts?
It's my opinion. Obviously, I don't have information about that, but I think the most important is that he comes back to Liverpool, make the preseason. I think in the center midfielder you have Endo, and I know more what player can be as a center midfielder as Stefan is. But he has to come back to the preseason. That Arne Slot watching him so close, and they're gonna evaluate him. But in my opinion, the best case for Stefan is go back to Liverpool. That does not see how his performance are, and then make the decision. I think the better way is left another time in loan to Spain, including to the Premier League, to develop more for a long year because he has a lot of struggle, a lot of troubles with his injury. I have the luck that I interviewed him like 3 months ago to Stefan, and he told me that it's pretty hard moments because it happens before you visit the Bernabeu in the second leg I don't remember if it was quarterfinals or no, round 16 in Champions League. He's struggling. He has had hard times. And now I think that the best case for him is go another time and another year as a loan, because this year is his very first. He's back to the ground, to back to the pitch, to have back these feelings, to be a player that this touch that is not the same before the injury, and another season long in a team not like Las Palmas, but for example Villarreal in Spain, obviously Celta. I would like Celta, obviously, or including the Premier League as a team that want to fight for uh, try to competing in European football as Europa League, Conference League. I think it's going to be nice for him because obviously the teams that competing in European football has a lot of more matches in places, more rotation and more minutes for the players. And I think that is that Stefan needs right now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. As much as I want to see him play for Liverpool, and I'm desperate to see him be part of the squad, you're probably right because I kind of expected or hoped that the season you think he might have next year, in terms of playing loads of football, loads of minutes, I hope that would be this year. But that hasn't been the case, you know. So maybe he still does need that. You might be absolutely spot on, Diego. Thank you so much for your time. Massively, massively appreciate you joining me. Really, really good to talk. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Take care. I'll see you soon.